Good morning. It's frosty, foggy, it's cold, it's a little bit damp, but today is going to be a good one, I think. I am in the Clachnaben car park in Glen Esk, just south of Banchory, and I'm doing an overnighter. This is my first solo camp, so I'm a little bit apprehensive about it. I'll probably say more about that in a second, but there's not a designated route for this. This is one that I just planned myself using Ordnance Survey maps. I've got my Amazon Basics backpack with me today. I took it to 4V last weekend. That was the first time I'd ever used it, and I think I bought it about 2 years ago. It did okay last week, so I'm thinking, why the heck not? Let's do it again. The Glen Esk Trail is a 50-kilometre route that I planned myself, leading over the heather hills and moorland of Aberdeenshire and Angus. Crossing several small hills, a Corbett and a Munro, it was a great but challenging way to explore a part of Scotland that I'd often overlooked. Accessible by both bus and car, it's perfect for groups or solo trips as well. I've made the route available to download on the OS website if for some reason you ever wish to follow it yourself. Now let's rejoin the walk from the Blackhillock Woods. I mentioned being a little bit apprehensive about this one, and that's just because it's my first solo wild camp. Will I have enough water? Will I have warm enough stuff? There's all of these questions kind of ringing round in my head. Yesterday I was thinking, do I really want to do this? But yes, I do. I'm excited for it. I hope it's as exciting for everyone watching as it is for me. Look at this, the mist, the frost on the ground. The conditions this morning are probably not good for being up the top of a hill, but they're brilliant for walking on the ground. Whoa! Whoa. I forgot to say, trusty red fleece on again today. It's going to be horrible in a few weeks or months' time if I keep wearing it for all these walks. But I just love it. I just love it. Very quickly, the first snow of the day started falling. But no sooner had I put on my jacket, the snow stopped again. And as the dim light of the sun forced its way through the mist, I could see the striking summit of Clachnaben, lit up in a way I'd never experienced it before. Clachnaben, meaning Rock of the Hill. One of Aberdeenshire's best known lower hills at a modest 598 metres. Its fame rests on the magnificent granite tor on its summit. A superb viewpoint, one of my favourite local walks, and well worth a day out for. I suppose I've got a cloud inversion of sorts. It's cool. cool is my go-to adjective when I just don't know what to say. But it's just amazing. Stage 1. Clachnaben, done and dusted. On we go. We've got a long way. First snack of the day, Trek Power Bar. I'll probably have some Skittles as well. That's a standard hiking snack that I take.
5 kilometres into the route, and this would become uncharted territory for me, having never ventured beyond the Tor of Clachnaben before. Under the grey blanket of fog and in the total absence of wind, I could hear the crunch of the snow every step I took. And as I headed in the direction of Mount Battock, the whole place felt somewhat desolate.
I wonder what that is. Some of this has seen better days, but if the weather gets bad, it's sure beats being out there. Make sure it's locked again. You can start to see it. There's a path that starts ascending the hill, and that will lead to Mount Battock. Mount Battock, like I said earlier, is the most easterly corbett in Scotland. A corbett basically doesn't qualify as a Munro because it's not quite high enough. I think 914 metres is the official sort of Munro minimum. Mount Battock is only 778 metres, so it's still a decent enough climb, but yeah, should be at the top soon. The steepness of this hill, which I'm sure is fine normally, but my pack is so heavy that it's taken it out of me.
And with that, I pushed my legs up the final ascent until I had finally reached the summit.
I've made it. Mount Battock. Oh my god, that was hard. That was so much harder than I was expecting. Oh my god. We're not even finished yet. Stop for lunch and then keep going. Salami and cheese. That was so hard. I had to really dig in there to get up that hill, which probably doesn't bode well for tomorrow's Munro. But I'm also hoping that by tomorrow I'll have eaten some of the weight down. It's so difficult. Oh my god. What am I doing? Sometimes I say to myself, what am I doing?
As I bid farewell to Mount Battock, it meant I was entering a vast part of Scotland called the Month. Its name, deriving from Pictish origin, translates to mountain, and it's a very high undulating plateau full of U-shaped valleys, or glacial troughs as they're known, including Glen Mick and Glen Clova, one for all the geologists out there.
This is just, it's completely different, this kind of landscape. And honestly, when I think about Scotland from a, described things, Iron Brew, Tennent's whiskey, and And if you were coming from a nature standpoint, you know, thistle and heather, and this is heather hills. This is as Scottish as it could get. So, you know, when I think of it, it's not as, you know, the landscape's not as striking as Torridon. It's, you know, it's never going to be, but it's heather. It's Scotland. This is Scotland. This is it, and it doesn't get better than that. You know, and if you look for the negatives, you're going to find the negatives. But if you just appreciate what it is for what it is, it's honestly life-changing. And that might be dramatic, but I swear it. I don't know if you can see that, but that's where we're heading next, once we pass through Tarfside. Here we go. 3:30. I don't know if that's a good time or what, but that is the time. I'm absolutely done in. That was pretty tough on the legs. Just had to cross over that. I still got just enough energy to keep me going, and as long as I get to the other side of that hill, which you can't see by sunset, then I can pitch the tent and everything will be good.
22 kilometres into the trail, I had reached Tarfside, the largest settlement in Glen Esk. Situated around 8 miles north of Edzell, this quaint hamlet is commonly seen as a beautiful place for walkers, with a museum, caravan site and plenty of historic churches nearby. With nightfall fast approaching, I didn't hang around for long, as I still had another 6.5 kilometres left to go before the end of the day.
Well, that was Tarfside, short and sweet, and the best thing about it was public toilets, so I managed to fill up my water bottles. Bam! We keep going.
The next stop on the list was the prominent Mall Monument, sitting at the summit of the Hill of Rowan. An impressive 50-foot tower built in 1866 by the Earl of Dalhousie, in memory of his family who died of cholera during the Crimean War. However, with light fading fast, regretfully, I had a tough decision to make.
I'm making the executive decision to not go to the monument. A little bit disappointing. There's that tiny little doorway. It's just begging to be explored, but I could just pitch a tent here. I don't think it's a very good place to do so, so I am hurrying. I'm going to keep trying, keep walking. I should be at Invermark soon, Ochroney. There's a car park there. Just beyond that there's Invermark Castle and there's a little woodland area.
Before long, I'd made it to Invermark. After 28.5 kilometres of walking, and with little choice due to the sun setting, I set up my tent as the day drew to an end and settled in for the evening. That was challenging, let's say. I put in pretty good mileage. I'm absolutely starving, so I'm going to fire up the gas stove and cook some dinner. But I got the tent set up. It feels like there's a decent amount of room so far, so just got to stay the night now. Just encountered my first disaster. This gas stove doesn't actually fit on top of this. I thought I'd checked that properly, but not properly enough, clearly. Well, that's sad. Very, very sad. Actually, looks not that bad cold.
Good morning. It's 7 a.m. or just after 7 a.m. So I'm just about to get up. It is warm inside the tent. The tent survived. I don't know why it wouldn't have. Minimal condensation, which is always good. The outside of the tent, I just felt it. It's completely frozen. It was raining a little bit and snowing, but it didn't bother me inside. It didn't really make it much colder. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't really want to get out of the sleeping bag and out of the tent because it's so cozy and I don't want to walk. I'll probably have some cold breakfast and psych myself up for this second day.
With little choice, I rehydrated my orzo bolognese breakfast. Weird choice, I know. I did let it sit for around 30 minutes to soak up as much liquid as possible while I faffed around and repacked my tent. In the end, it was still pretty crunchy, but needs must.
Obviously made a complete gaffe with the gas canister not working. But other than that, I'm unscathed. I probably didn't even need all the extra layers. If you do this kind of thing and you've got any tips, put them in the comments. If you want to know what I brought specifically, also leave a comment. I'll reply to that, and I'll maybe put a gear list in the description. We'll see. My bag of trash. I hope these people don't mind. There it is. Thank you very much. Sunday. We're on the hunt for Mount Keene and the journey back to Ballater.
Day 2, I was following a public footpath which was the ancient route north to Ballater. This was a route travelled by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert in 1861, just a few weeks before his death, and it's most famous now for a 20-foot high granite memorial, the Queen's Well. Though I wouldn't recommend drinking from the well today, it makes for a lovely walk in a part of Scotland that has such a fascinating history.
I'm just powering on. Head down, get as many steps in as I can, and I will report back when I'm at the top.
The higher I climbed up the steep slopes of Mount Keane, the more the conditions reflected winter. A thick fog, gusts of cold wind, and snow showers wasn't quite the clear day the weather app had forecast, which heightens the importance of being prepared in conditions like these, however easy a walk might seem.
I made it! Top of Mount Keane, it's absolutely mental. I didn't even bother getting the camera out because it's quite dangerous, to be honest. It's a bit misty, really snowy. Now I've just got to go down the other side, so that's a less taken path, so I don't expect it will be as well marked. So again, I'm probably going to put the phone away and stick to the GPS, get myself off this mountain. The beast from the east. Mount Keane, done. Now that I'm a little bit further down, it's actually completely fine. Completely fine. Up top, the visibility wasn't great and the snow was moderately. It wasn't that deep, it wasn't that bad, but just better to be safe than sorry.
Finishing Mount Keane felt like it should have been a defining moment for the walk. A false finish of sorts. My joy was short-lived when I reached the sign for Ballater and the ancient Month Road. The route then ascends back into the hills, over moorland, and it meant my tired legs still had to travel onwards for another 2.5 hours.
It's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure, this route. Well, I better crack on.
This part of the route reminded me of the start of the walk, specifically Clachnaben to Mount Battock. The fog, the snow, the silence, they created an atmosphere that made it feel like I was the only person left on the planet. Like I was a million miles away from home.
Banchory Hill. The final summit on this walk. It's all downhill from here, which means Ballater is over there somewhere.
With the bridge over to Ballater in sight, 50 kilometres under my belt, and whilst my stomach was screaming out for a huge victory meal, I took the time to think about the walk with a sense of pride. How much fun it was to finish a route I'd planned myself, all the cool moments I'd captured on camera, the new places I'd been, and the history and the facts that I'd learnt along the way.
I do.
All the little things that never made it to the video, the excitement I felt off screen, the thrill of packing up a wet tent, of course. And let's not forget every single time I had to go back and pick up my camera. And I can't wait to do it all over again.
That was the Glen Esk Trail, Clachnaben to Ballater, and boy, that was tough. But I'm done, and it sure feels good. So I'll leave you guys here, but if you watched this far, as always, thank you very much, and I'll see you again next time. I'm not even going to pretend to take that.